Hello and welcome viewers, I am Pia and you're watching NewsX World. Let's take a look at the top headlines this hour. The United States President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have unveiled a joint Gaza peace plan calling for an immediate ceasefire, release of hostages and exclusion of Hamas from future governance. Trump has warned of military support for Israel if Hamas rejects the deal. The Palestinian Authority has meanwhile welcomed the proposal as sincere and determined. United Kingdom's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, European Council President Antonio Costa and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have praised the proposal and have urged swift action. On the other hand, 8 Arab and Muslim nations have hailed Trump's sincere efforts to end the war, release hostages and deliver urgent aid to Gaza. Donald Trump has announced sweeping new tariffs on imported wood products, including lumber, cabinets and furniture, citing national security and economic resilience. The move targets key Canadian imports and aims to boost U.S. manufacturing. Tariff hikes will roll out starting the 14th of October. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared that Russian forces are prevailing in a righteous battle in Ukraine. He has emphasized upon national unity and determination. Now, despite the ongoing conflict, Putin has vowed to continue offensive efforts as Russia maintains control over significant Ukrainian territories. Russia has denied accusations of meddling in Moldova's parliamentary elections. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova has stated that Moldova's authorities wrongly blamed Russia and not the European Union, fueling false claims of a Russian threat ahead of the vote. Afghanistan's Taliban has cut fiber optic connectivity nationwide, causing a near total internet blackout. Communication systems, banking and customs have been severely affected. Internet watchdog NetBlocks reports national connectivity has dropped below 1% of normal level, signaling a comprehensive shutdown. Chuck Schumer has stated that large differences remain with U.S. President Donald Trump after a key White House meeting to avoid government shutdown. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance has stated that the U.S. is headed to shut down, blaming the Democrats. Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina has dissolved the country's government following deadly protests by youth over power and water shortages. With 22 killed and over 100 injured, he's urged dialogue with young people and pledges support for businesses impacted by widespread unrest and looting. All right, viewers, those are the headlines and our top focus. U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met at the White House earlier in order to unveil a new peace initiative for Gaza. The proposal released is a 20-point document. It calls for an immediate ceasefire, a hostage prisoner swap, the disarmament of Hamas, and the creation of an international transitional government to oversee Gaza's reconstruction. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has stated that he backs Donald Trump's 20-point plan to end the war, calling it consistent with Israel's goals. Take a look.
I believe that today we're taking a critical step towards both ending the war in Gaza and setting the stage for dramatically advancing peace in the Middle East. And I think beyond the Middle East, in very important Muslim countries. I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims. It will bring back to Israel all our hostages, dismantle Hamas's military capabilities, end its political rule, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to.
President Trump has stated that the deal would include a timetable for a staged Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, with withdrawals occurring in phases worked out with a new transitional authority. And he's further announced that he would chair a U.S.-led board of peace to oversee the process. Take a look at what he said.
With the new transitional authority in Gaza, all parties will agree on a timeline for Israeli forces to withdraw. To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it, the Board of Peace, sort of a beautiful name, the Board of Peace, which will be headed, not at my request, believe me, I'm very busy, but we have to make sure this works. The leaders of the Arab world and Israel and everybody involved asked me to do this, so it would be headed by a gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump of the United States.
Meanwhile, Trump has warned that if Hamas rejects the proposal, the United States will give Israel its full backing to take whatever action it deems necessary. Meanwhile, Netanyahu repeated that Israel would finish the job if Hamas does not comply. Listen in.
But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it and then basically do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way, but it will be done. We prefer the easy way, but it has to be done.
Netanyahu has made it clear that the Palestinian Authority would have no role whatsoever in running Gaza unless it underwent fundamental radical change, and stated that any post-war civilian administration must not be controlled by Hamas or the Palestinian Authority.
Mr. President, I was encouraged by your clear statement at the UN against the recognition of a Palestinian state. That would be an outcome that, after October 7th, would reward terrorism, undermine security, and endanger Israel's very existence. As for the Palestinian Authority, I appreciate your firm position that the PA could have no role whatsoever in Gaza without undergoing a radical and genuine transformation.
The White House has also said that the plan would seek to encourage the residents of Gaza to remain in place during reconstruction, while Qatari and Egyptian mediators met with Hamas representatives in order to deliver the proposal. Hamas has stated that it would review the plan in good faith. The Palestinian Authority has meanwhile issued a statement welcoming Trump's efforts as sincere and determined. Meanwhile, Islamic Jihad has condemned the plan as a recipe for continued aggression, warning that it would fuel further hostility against Palestinians. With us on the broadcast is Daniela Bloom, political commentator, joining us from Los Angeles in California. Thank you for taking out time speaking to us on NewsX World. It's quite a comprehensive plan that has been put out, a 20-point plan to be very, very specific. How do you view this? Do we have now a long-term path to peace chalked out?
Amen. This is why we elected our President Trump, peace through strength. This is a comprehensive plan which prioritizes the return of the hostages. This has been the #1 priority for our Israelis from day one. But it outlines a real plan for success, for international control with the help of not only Trump overseeing, but Tony Blair, other international presence from maybe the United Emirates. This is being greenlit by the Arab world, by the Europeans, by the Americans. So it's really up to Hamas. And if they don't agree, it's very clear what Bibi Netanyahu said. If you don't agree, we will have to finish the job one way or another. So the ball is in Hamas's court with the entire world watching. They are now under tremendous international pressure, especially from their own Arab brothers and sisters. So let's see what happens. I'm very encouraged.
Indeed, ma'am, I request you to stay on with us because there are a ton of reactions pouring in. Now, in a significant breakthrough, 8 Arab and Muslim nations, including Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Turkey, Indonesia and Pakistan have welcomed US President Donald Trump's peace initiative aimed at ending the conflict in Gaza. The countries have praised Trump's efforts, calling it sincere, and have expressed readiness to engage constructively towards a lasting solution. Global support is increasing as French President Emmanuel Macron, EU Chief Antonio Costa and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer have backed the plan, urging all sides to act swiftly. They've in fact urged all parties to support the plan to end the war, release hostages and ensure urgent humanitarian aid for Gaza. Additionally, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also voiced support, describing the plan as comprehensive and hoping that all sides will focus on ending the conflict. Still with us on the broadcast is Ms. Daniela Bloom. Global support pouring in from all quarters, whether it is the Muslim Arab nations, it is the European nations, India as well has backed Donald Trump's 20-point peace pact. In the midst of this, there are some interesting points that have come forth within the plan itself regarding a technocratic Palestinian committee as well as the establishment of a board of peace. What role do you foresee these bodies playing in ensuring that peace ends up lasting and that the long-term solution to peace in the Middle East, a more stable Middle East, is achieved?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it dispels this propaganda that Gaza is to be ethnically cleansed. It's very clear that in this comprehensive framework, Gazans who want to leave are free to leave. Gazans who want to stay can stay. The objective is to de-radicalize the area. Hamas and the PA will not be allowed to be in charge. So it's not just lip service, it's comprehensive action steps to ensure a de-radicalization and checks and balances for the future of Gaza. Because if you truly do want to support the Palestinians, you want to support them in thriving in an environment where they can actually self-actualize. Under Hamas, they never saw the aid that was given to them. They could never speak out against them. So I'd like to give the benefit of the doubt to the many Palestinians who were brave enough to go against Hamas. Now they will have a voice, and maybe indeed they will show us in the world that they do believe in coexistence.
All right, Ms. Bloom, with that, I would like to thank you for taking out time, joining us on the broadcast today, sharing your perspective on this landmark development. Meanwhile, viewers, we're tracking more updates from the United States. We're now learning that US President Donald Trump has stated that he is now slapping 10% tariffs on imported timber and lumber and 25% duties on imported kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities and upholstered furniture. Trump has signed a presidential proclamation laying out his argument that timber, lumber and furniture imports are eroding U.S. national security in order to justify the new duties under Section 232 of the Trade Act of 1974. The proclamation states that the tariff rate would start on the 14th of October, but added that the duties will increase on the 1st of January 2026 to 30% for upholstered wooden products and to 50% for kitchen cabinets and vanities imported from countries that failed to reach an agreement with the United States. Earlier, Donald Trump stated that the action is the first in 3 sectors that would get steep new duties as early as the 1st of October, including patented pharmaceutical imports and heavy truck imports as well. That is, of course, the latest. We had earlier seen Donald Trump impose steep tariffs as far as patented pharmaceutical products are concerned as well. The larger question that experts have been posing is how will this impact the consumers, because there are concerns that prices for consumers may rise on the ground, but the Trump administration's argument is that they're attempting to boost domestic manufacturing and give impetus to domestic firms and domestic production and consumption through these steep tariffs. Meanwhile, there are arguments on the other side that criticize the more protectionist attitude that the United States is now adopting. There are calls for, in fact, ensuring that open markets are still in place. Of course, in the latest move, you can see President Donald Trump signing that order, that proclamation that he's made, that he is now slapping 10% tariffs on imported timber and lumber and 25% duties on imported kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities and upholstered furniture. Trump has signed this proclamation, laying out his argument that timber, lumber and furniture imports are eroding U.S. national security to justify the new duties under Section 232 of the Trade Act of 1974. This proclamation states that the tariff rate would start on the 14th of October, and it has also added that the duties will increase on the 1st of January to 30% for upholstered wooden products and to 50% for kitchen cabinets and vanities imported from countries that failed to reach an agreement with the United States. Remember earlier, we have been discussing the fact that pharmaceutical imports, heavy truck imports have been hit by these tariffs as well. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Jayjeet Bhattacharya, economist and a financial expert, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much, sir, for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. Yet another order signed by Donald Trump that now slaps tariffs against timber and lumber. Which countries are most likely going to be affected by this? All right, there seems to be a major connectivity issue over there. We will, in fact, try to get that connection sorted. But here, of course, you can see Donald Trump all smiles as he signed this executive order. All right, viewers, with that, we shift our focus towards some breaking updates coming in. Ukraine has reported that a Russian drone strike overnight killed a family of 4 in the northeastern Sumy region. The head of the regional military administration, Oleg Gregorov, has stated that the attack targeted a residential building in the village of Chernechnya, and rescuers have recovered the bodies of 2 parents and their 2 young children aged 6 and 4 from the rubble. Ukrainian officials have described the strike as a direct attack on civilian homes, highlighting the threat to non-combatants in areas near the front lines. This is the latest that we're tracking on the broadcast. Fresh strikes being reported. We do remember that there was a barrage of drone strikes that had taken place yesterday as well. In fact, there was a family that was living in the outskirts of Moscow in Russia that was also attacked and that lost their lives. There was a child as well as a grandmother. Civilian casualties are mounting as the war between Russia and Ukraine drags on. With us on the broadcast is Alexander Kalkuta, Minister for External Relations of the Kaliningrad region, joining us from Minsk. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us. As I mentioned earlier, the civilian casualties are increasing even as the war is dragging on. We had earlier seen the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, in fact, highlight that Russia is open to negotiations, but it is Ukraine that has not given any signal to come to the negotiating table.
Yes, hello everyone. You are quite right that from the beginning of this special military operation, our president and our officials and people who live there, our Russians, they realize and understand that this is the battle for the truth and for the future. And we were always ready to start negotiations at every stage. But every time Ukrainian part wasn't ready to do it, yeah. And now, after this well-known meeting in Alaska, then after meeting in Beijing with the leaders, with the main leaders of our main countries, I mean India, China, Russia, everyone thought that it was just a big signal to Ukraine to start negotiations. Yes, but they denied it, and the only way to do now for us is to keep on moving on the battlefield because we have better and better positions from day to day. But we are still ready. We're still ready. We gave them a lot of signals, so the ball is on their side now.
All right, so I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking some further updates. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared that his country is prevailing in what he called a righteous battle in Ukraine. He's framed the ongoing war as a national struggle, stressing that Russian troops are advancing and the entire nation is supporting them. This comes in the backdrop of new developments which centers around US support for Ukraine. We do know that Donald Trump had earlier hosted Vladimir Putin in Alaska in August, but he's now shifted his stance and he's completely backing Kyiv. He's recently met Zelensky as well. Trump has claimed that Kyiv has a chance to regain its territories. Moreover, Washington is now considering a request from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to obtain Tomahawk cruise missiles, which could give a strategic edge to Ukraine. Meanwhile, the possibility of such supplies has triggered warnings from Moscow. Russian officials have stated that US military specialists assisting in launching Tomahawks would be targeted, whereas President Putin has repeatedly called for retaliation against any country that enables attacks on Russian territory. Additionally, on the ground, Russia has stated that its forces have captured 2 more villages in the Donetsk region. However, Ukraine has not confirmed this, stating that troops are meanwhile making gains, which in the Donetsk region, even as Russia is advancing on the ground. Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Alexander Kalutka. Interesting developments coming in. We've recently seen the Ukrainian president put in a request for Tomahawk missiles. We do know that some Patriot systems are yet to be received by the Ukrainians, but now they've put in a fresh request. Do you think the Americans will now accept this, and what are the consequences if they do so?
I think from the beginning of this operation, we always heard here and there these requests, for different missile systems. Some of them Ukrainian got something, but I can say you that they got real some modern contemporary missile systems. Yes, still. So this last request you are talking about, of course, it's another. On the one hand, it's another point of escalation. Yes, if they got it. On the other, every politician understands that Mr. Donald Trump he plays his game. Yes, here, and it's his style of negotiation. It's his style of advertising, of presenting something. So, of course, we are very attentive what he will do, what Ukrainians will do. But I can say one important thing, that you know that in December Mr. Putin is going to visit your country to meet with Mr. Modi, and I think it will be a very important meeting, not only if we speak about our bilateral relations between India and Russia, but if we speak about Ukrainian crisis as well. Because India plays very important role in global world now, and it has its influence and connections in USA as well. Yes, so I think that this meeting can make another important signal and show that Russia has support. Yes, and Russia. Is a global player, yes, in the world. So I think that even if Ukrainians get some missiles right now, it doesn't mean that they will use it, yes, at once. So it's just some period of a lot of disinformation. Yes, it's a period of some provocations. It's a period of some very stress moments, yes, in the battlefield and in the media sphere as well. So it's a very, very stressful period, and we need to keep calm. It's the main thing.
All right, so I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking some further developments from Europe. Russia has denied accusations that it tried to interfere in Moldova's parliamentary elections, calling the claims as cynical. The Russian Foreign Ministry has stated that Moldovan authorities blamed Russia and not the European Union for interference, spreading doubts of a Russian threat that does not exist in actuality. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky has congratulated Moldova's pro-EU party, stating that Russia has failed to destabilize the vote despite efforts. Listen in.
Russia's subversive influence will not spread farther into Europe. And I spoke today in the morning with Maya Sandu. I congratulated her. Russia failed to destabilize Moldova, even after spending huge resources to undermine it and to corrupt whoever.
This comes as the Moldovan election results showed President Maya Sandu's Party of Action and Solidarity secure a clear-cut victory over the Russian-leaning Patriotic Bloc. This is being observed as a boost for Moldova's bid to join the EU, and meanwhile, supporters of the pro-Russian Patriotic Bloc gathered outside the parliament to protest these results. Former President Igor Dodon, a leader of the bloc, briefed about complaints that were filed with the Central Election Commission alleging fraud, particularly at polling stations. Listen in.
În primul rând, noi am depus din partea blocului patriotic 10 de contestări la Comisia Electorală Centrală în parcursul zilei de ieri. La fel, din informația noastră, astfel de contestări au fost depuse și din partea altor partide de opoziție. Aceste contestări urmează să fie examinate de CEC.
Bine, am venit aici în fața Parlamentului să protestăm rezultatele alegerilor, că după părerea noastră au avut loc mai multe falsificări, mai ales la secțiile de votare din diasporă. Partidul deja are dovezi și le va introduce cecului.
Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Alexander Calcutta. Interesting developments coming in from Moldova. We do know now that the Patriotic Bloc has approached the Central Election Commission alleging fraud in certain polling booths. In the meantime, Russia has slammed the EU, calling the claims of Russia meddling in these elections as cynical claims, and meanwhile has in fact emphasized that it is the EU that has been spreading doubts of a Russian threat that does not exist in actuality. And I wanted to understand from you that what are Russia's concerns with Moldova's EU membership bid and what's been transpiring over the last couple of months?
So first of all, what I would like to say is that all those accusations from Europe, yes, that Russia was here, Russia was there, in Moldova, somewhere else. So I mean, it's crazy, really, because what we can see now, it's Europe, yes, who interferes in domestic relations of independent countries like Moldova, and it made everything. It broke all the possible rules of elections, really. So just one fact, yes, is that there were no observers during these elections, not only from Russia, but in general. It's crazy, really. It's not democratic elections at all. So what we are doing now, of course, we are focusing and very attentively on what's going on next. I don't think that those remarks that were made by the president of Moldova to the commission, I don't think it will play a big role, to be honest. But I think that it's not very secure position for Moldova now, because people in Moldova, and we hear it from different sources of information. They don't like the economic in the country right now. They don't like this election system. They don't like the politics. So I mean that now it's maybe such a very not a stable time, you know, for Moldova, because people, they can say something right now. I don't know. I can't predict you for 100% how it will be, but people are really tired. People are really tired of all that politics, and so I think it's like some red lines, if you want. So politicians from Moldova, they broke all the rules, yes, and it can be dangerous for them. I think that.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for taking our time, speaking to us on NewsX World, sharing your perspective on these developments. Meanwhile, viewers, we're shifting focus towards some other developments coming in the United Nations General Assembly. North Korea's Vice Foreign Minister Kim Son-gyong has firmly stated that his country will never give up its nuclear program. He has described demands for denuclearization as tantamount to asking North Korea to surrender its sovereignty and right to exist. He has emphasized that the country's nuclear arsenal is a constitutional right and a necessary deterrent against threats from the United States and its allies. Listen in.
이 균형 상태를 연구하고 조선반도 평화를 영원 불멸한 곳으로 만들기 위하여 우리는 헌법의 핵을 절대로 닫힐 수도 변화시킬 수도 없는 신성하고 절대적인 곳으로 거착시켰습니다. 우리에게 비핵화를 하라는 것은 곧 주권을 포기하고 생존권을 포기하며 헌법을 어기라는 것이나 마찬가지입니다. 우리는 절대로 주권 포기, 생존권 포기.
All right, viewers, that's all the time we have. For more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned on NewsX World.